Satnam, Satnam, how are you guys doing? Welcome to Mel's Magic Visual. I'm Magic Mel, and yes, Charles is on board, and he is mirror reversed right there. Can you see him? I know you've missed him. I have. I had to find a place to set him up again. And I got rid of that mattress. We are progressing in our endeavors. Happy post new moon in Taurus. Have you set your intentions? I haven't, but the window is still there. And trust me, working with the lunar cycle is very powerful. Now, last time we spoke about deep stuff, and sometimes it gets a bit heavy, but it is serious. And at the same time, it's not. At the same time, I always tell you, keep it light, not to disregard the depths or the pain or the grief, but to remember that a pesar de todo, malgré tout, at our essence, we are lightness, we are joy, and we are love. And this whole journey really is in rerouting, detouring, and finding our way back home. And where is that home? Right there inside of you. Because we all go through the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, where we depart, we go out into the world, we're looking, only to come back home to the real treasure, which is right inside of you. That is where the key is, the key to all the questions you're asking yourself. And one thing I wanted to talk about was the notion of synchronicity. Because you might have come across a situation where you were sure, 100% sure, that you were following the so-called signs, the symbols, the coincidences. And you were sure that by following those signs, you would hit the jackpot, find the one, meet the one, end up in the opportunity you always wanted. But somehow it all imploded and you were scrambling because you couldn't believe what was happening. You were scrambling and attaching to it and holding tight. And you know what happens when we hold tight? It flows through us like sand. The tighter we try and hold on to something, the more it escapes us. And you're asking, but Magic Mel, I was following the signs. Why did this happen? I can't believe this happened. I did everything right. I trusted myself, the signs, and still everything fell apart. Has that happened to you recently or ever? If so, it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong or that the universe was tricking you. To the contrary, the universe wanted you or needed you to learn an important lesson. So following the signs and synchronicities doesn't mean we will be spared from pain or from disappointment. Because the pain and the disappointment was a lesson. Perhaps the synchronicities set up some kind of situation that made you face yourself again, or that made you strip bare your reality from illusions. Because the entire journey here is about stripping away illusions. So have you gone through a situation where you followed the signs, the so-called synchronicities, and nevertheless things fell apart, or you really got hurt? I'm not downplaying any of that, no? But really, what was the lesson behind it? What did the situation or the person or the event mirror back to you? Because remember, we are creating these situations. We project onto the situation, onto the person, something that we are not aware of, perhaps. Shadow integration. Perhaps we pinned our happiness into some external event. And because we saw it slipping away, we were grasping really tight, thinking that was the only moment or opportunity for happiness. But remember, the universe is trying to guide us back to home base, which is the seat of the true happiness, your true self. Everything else is a fata morgana or mirage, no? And again, it doesn't mean that the pain you felt or the disappointment was not warranted or wasn't real. But look deeper. As creators of our reality, we need to look one or several layers deeper and always ask ourselves, what is the lesson here in this situation? What is the situation mirroring back to me? Is it a lack of self-love? Is it a lack of confidence? Is it a void that needs to be filled by something deeper? As long as we try and fill voids, whether it's through consumption, whether it's through other people, whether it's through romantic relationships, whether it's through the next dopamine hit, we will face a wall. Because the universe is trying to show you nothing out there can fill that void but deeper connection to source. And until we learn that, it's going to be painful. Not because the universe is trying to punish you, but because that lesson is so essential. Otherwise, we keep on running around and chasing our own tail, no? Until you come back to the seat of your power, like, oh, happiness is inside of me. I can choose the thoughts that I want to believe and create my own state of being. I can choose happiness in any situation, regardless of the circumstances. That's where your seat of power lies. So if we keep on chasing mirages, we will keep on hitting that brick wall. So I encourage you to continue following the signs, because that lesson is necessary, and the sooner we learn it, the better. Because then you start, then you understand the game. And by game, I mean the way the universe works, no? What we project out is what we receive, be it out of lack or be it out of abundance. That's what we receive back. So if we approach any situation from lack and scarcity, or from emptiness or an inner void, we will be reflected that back to us energetically. So keep on asking yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Where have I lost my power? Where have I externalized my happiness? And I'm not saying that experiences and other people and things are not there to make us happy, of course, but the issue arises when we attach and cannot let go and think our happiness really depends on that outer circumstance. That's where we run into trouble. So let me know in the comments box what your experience has been in this regard. And what to do in a situation where we have followed the signs and hit a brick wall. That is the moment when we're really tested and encouraged to surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means stopping resistance, the fighting, forcing, persisting, insisting. So when we wave the white flag and say, okay, universe, I accept, I allow, I appreciate, even if it hurts, even if it's not what I wanted. I trust that everything is happening for me, not to me. And when you step into that modus operandi, all of a sudden a door opens. An opportunity arises because you've shifted your energy away from victimhood and back into empowerment. It's an internal process. And I made a little drawing about that, something that happened to me in the past. At some point I was really heartbroken, and I was like, literally thinking, I can't believe this is happening. I thought I followed the signs. And as soon as I surrendered and I accepted and I said, all right, I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust it's happening for my highest. And I trust Mahadev, I trust the universe, the plan, because I know it is for my own empowerment, and somehow it's guiding me back home, even though in the moment I don't understand why or how. But when you trust and surrender, a pathway opens and you raise your consciousness because you're no longer struggling against reality. And I know it sounds all easy, no? to do in theory, but I invite you to do that, or to reflect back at an experience where something similar has happened to you. Are you still resisting, and are you still fighting against reality right here, right now? That is when really our faith and our trust is tested. Because it's easy to trust when everything's going well, no? But if shit hits the fan, if we get hurt, if we feel grief and disappointment, that is the moment we're asked to trust and to have faith that everything is happening for you, not against you. And that this experience, however excruciating and painful it is, it's happening for a reason. And if you approach it with a mindset of there's something in it for you, there's some pearls of wisdom for you in this experience, then you will gather them. But if you close yourself off and become cynical and feel like the victim, you will not harvest the positive aspect out of the experience. But as long as you stay in that mindset that whether good or bad, it's happening for you, you will gather the positive, the wisdom out of it. And wisdom comes at a price, no? Experience, and often painful experiences. So I invite you to remain in that higher vantage point and to remind yourself of that when you're deep down in the shits, or when you're deep down in despair or in pain. That's really the mud, no? Where we struggle in the mud. Yep, surrender. And on this path, you will be asked, continuously asked, to surrender, to have faith. And to be okay with uncertainty, and to be okay with not seeing the entire picture or the entire path clearly. There will be phases where you can't see clearly, and it will feel like you're just kind of crawling forward in the dark. That's when you need to have faith as your anchor and as your true north compass, even in the fog, even through the storm, especially through the storm. Okay, so that was that, and I wanted to pull a card for you. Let's see what comes out. I'm using the Oracle deck. I have like a hair. Oh, there it is. It's annoying me. Okay, so I'm connecting with your Asga team, angels, spirit guides, gods and goddesses. What message do you have for you? Thank you so much. And my video just froze. I have to glue it back together. No, we haven't advanced technologically on this side, Mel's Magic Official. It's still DIY. But hey, no excuses. We don't need to have the best equipment to get started. We just need to press record and get the ball rolling. Okay. Wow. I know which card came out. It's interesting. Okay. It's go to the sea in reverse. Yeah, so I'll put it upright so you can see. To the sea is everything we just spoke about. It means going with the flow. And look at her in her little bateau here, paper bateau. She looks pretty surrendered. She's like, okay, I'm not going to fight the current anymore. And can you see the face of spirit up there? No? Hovering above. Now this came out in reverse, which means we're scrambling, which is a loving reminder to not fight the current. To trust, just like the current and the tide comes in and goes out, it has its own rhythm. Life has its own rhythm. There's the ebb and flow of energy, of opportunities. And when the tide retracts, don't scramble, don't worry, don't panic. It's all happening in divine timing. And there's a saying, when the tide is out, when the tide is low, the fishermen stay home and prepare the nets. Yeah. So don't panic if the proverbial tide is low. Opportunities will come back in. But stop resisting the current. Stop fighting against the flow that is the current of your soul's expansion and unfolding. So all of us, each one of us souls has their own soul current. So things are aligning for you, and you can go with the flow of your current or scramble against it. That's where trust comes in, no? Trusting the unfolding of your life. Allow things to happen rather than force things to happen or make things happen. It really requires that faith and trust. So can you do that? Trust the current of your life and go flow to the sea. Should we keep it at that? I was going to pull a new moon in Taurus reading, maybe after this one. So let me know your experience with falling synchronicities and hitting a proverbial brick wall. Yeah. Remember, it's all happening for you. And usually in hindsight, that's when we can piece things together, no? And understand, aha, that's why that happened. That's why I needed to go through that, to learn that, to remember who I am truly and where home base is. See you in the next video.